Thank you for viewing this video. We would like to start off by giving a quick thank you to our annual sponsors. Our gold level sponsors, Geronimo Properties, Transin, Northmark, AEI, May Property Management, and Mansar. Our silver level sponsor, St. James Real Estate Advisors. We would also like to mention our charitable partner for 2023, New View Communities, a CDC organization promoting affordable housing in central Massachusetts. To find out how you can become a sponsor of the New England CCIM chapter or to learn more about New View Communities, please visit our websites. There are links in the video description below. Greetings on behalf of the New England CCIM chapter. I'm Michael Chase, Immediate Past President and Chapter Treasurer for 2023. Today is our first installment in 2023 for our CRE Expert Series. So happy New Year and happy Lunar New Year to all of you out there who just celebrated that over the weekend. Today, we are very pleased to be joined by Melissa Sherwood of Panakio Adjusters. And she is here today to talk about insurance loss claims and why you should hire a public adjuster. Melissa, thank you for accepting our invitation to speak with us today. Before we dive into today's topic, let's start off with a quick introduction. Would you mind telling us a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, Michael. I really appreciate it. My name is Melissa Sherwood. I am a public insurance adjuster, and the name of my firm is Panakio Adjusters. I am licensed by the state of Massachusetts to represent the insured, not the insurance company, when there is a property claim. So think of me, fire, flood, any sort of water damage to a property that is commercial or residential.
And I think the important distinction is you're representing the insured. And so what is the typical process? How does that work when there isn't a public adjuster involved?
Great question. So when a property claim is filed, so the first thing for a claim to be a covered claim is that it has to be triggered by the insurance policy itself. So imagine a flood, fire, a tree falls on your property, something of that nature. The homeowner or property owner would typically call in a claim, and the insurance company will assign an adjuster to that claim. That adjuster will come out to inspect and will handle the process. The difference is that that adjuster works for the insurance company, and the interest of that adjuster is in the interest of the insurance company first. That's not to say that they don't care about the property owner. It's just that that is who they are working for.
I think that's an important distinction that many, or if not most people, don't realize, that they may think it's some third party coming out and handling the claim, but they are hired and have a fiduciary almost responsibility to that other side. So when someone decides to hire a public adjuster, what size claim should we be thinking about in order to hire a public adjuster?
So I always say, in terms of the size of the claim, the monetary size of the claim, that's a difficult question to answer because you don't know what the monetary value is of the claim to begin with. And that's something that we do that's really, really important. So the reason why I'm saying that is because you may say, well, this is a $10,000 claim, and it may very well be a $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 claim, but you don't know that because you don't understand the insurance process. So I always say to call me first, because we can give you our opinion based on, what has happened, just having so much experience in our field. And if we can bring value to your claim in terms of not just monetary, but, there are a lot of people that don't have the time or the emotional bandwidth to deal with an insurance company and to be following up with them. It's a lot of work, and it really, can turn your life upside down because it's never something that you expect to happen.
What property types do you assist with?
So we do residential and commercial properties. So homeowners, business owners, condos, large commercial properties, businesses, things of that nature. We don't do anything with cars or boats.
Okay. And how about geographically?
We are licensed in New Hampshire, Massachusetts, and Connecticut. We are based on the North Shore in Massachusetts. Our headquarters are in Lynn, Mass. As far as geographically, personally, I have connections in New York and Florida. So if clients of mine have losses there, I can refer out to a firm or an individual public adjuster that I know and trust.
That's great. And I think another part of what you just mentioned, that you're licensed in those states, and it is a licensed role. What are some of the biggest misconceptions that you hear?
So the things you hear are, if my insurance company is sending out an adjuster, why do I need my own adjuster? I'm paying my insurance premium. Why isn't this adjuster looking out for my best interest? And the reality is that insurance is all about money. So, for any dollar that an insurance company is saving on a loss, it's just that it's money saved, and you multiply that by the amount of loss, and it adds up to quite a bit of money. So that's the first thing. So when people say you should hire a public adjuster, they often think, well, I already have an adjuster. Why do I need another adjuster? But it's very clear that we are working for the insured, not the insurance company. So the way that an insurance contract is written, and that's your policy, it says that in the time of loss, the burden of proof is on the insured, meaning the policy owner, to tell the insurance company what the damages are. And nobody knows that. So I always say you don't know what you don't know, especially when it comes to insurance. So how do you value that loss? Well, you could have your contractor tell you what the damage is, but the contractor is only telling you what they think the damage is. They're not looking at it from an insurance standpoint. And that's how we come at it. We come at the claim looking at it from an insurance standpoint, and we're always looking far ahead. Like an instance where if we need proof down the road to prove a point, or we hit a sticking point where we're arguing over a roof or the amount of the house that needs to be painted, we are going to go back to all of the documentation that we took in the beginning of the claim, whether it's photographs, measurements, any of that, and we will refer back to that information. So it's very much the documentation and all the work that we do in the very beginning of the claim is important, because we never know when and if we might need that.
What tends to be the difference in claims?
So there's 2 points to make on that. So there is a monetary difference, and there are studies out there that show that if you hire a good public adjuster, the differential can be 40 to 100% more than if you did not have proper representation. The other fact is that claims that have proper representation of a public adjuster are handled differently internally at the insurance company. So there have been many times where somebody has hired us after they've already not settled the claim, but filed a claim, and an adjuster has been out. That's not ideal for us because we can't document the way that we would, as I just mentioned. Maybe the insurance company was trying to desk adjust that claim. So that means that they're not having a field adjuster come out. As soon as we submit our letter of representation and you now have proper representation, guess what? They assign a field adjuster.
Yep.
So that changes the claim tremendously, just having proper representation.
Right.
And that's why we see those numbers to be so much greater on the return.
Interesting. So in other ways that people might be able to relate to this, it's almost, well, you're not attorneys. If someone else has an attorney representing them, you want an attorney representing you. Interesting.
Exactly. It's almost, so I had a client not too long ago that had hired me, and he said, and it was a situation where he hired me after he had already received his first offer from the insurance company. Again, that's not an ideal situation for us, but this particular client's take on it was, even if you don't get me another dime in terms of my settlement, I would feel so much better knowing that there's somebody representing me that understands the process and knows what these people are talking about, because I have no idea. And of course, we did end up getting that client more money, but there is so much to the process, and all we handle as public adjusters is the nitty-gritty of a claim and all the details and all the minutia that goes along with it.
What can be some of the reasons why there can be such a separation or difference?
So a lot of it has to do with our estimates are all inclusive. So I'll give you an example of flooring. So if you have a property loss, say water damage to your kitchen floor, and it's an oak floor that runs throughout the entire downstairs and you have an open concept. Well, you're entitled to proper repair of that floor, not just a section of the floor that is obviously damaged, but it has to be within sight lines. So that's just an example of we're going to put that entire floor in our estimate because we know that you're entitled to that. An insurance adjuster working just for the insurance company will probably give you a repair on that floor. And the same goes for a roof is another great example of that, you know, patching a roof versus replacing the entire roof, things like that. And then it's all about the details. So we write all of our estimates in the same software that the insurance companies use, and they're line item by line item, very detailed estimates. And all of those things add up to a greater settlement when it comes down to the final number.
So one question I'm sure that lingers on the top of some people's minds is, how do you get paid?
As public adjusters, our fee is regulated by the state, and we work on a contingency fee, which is an amount of the settlement. And our fee is 10% of whatever we settle the claim for at the end of the claim. So we don't get paid until you get paid. And we also don't take our fee off the top. So you get paid and then you pay us.
If I am going to increase my claim 40 to 100%, am I going to see a premium adjustment in a similar way?
If you haven't had any losses on your homeowner's policy or your commercial property policy, it's just like not having a ticket on your driving record. And what I see often is that the premium isn't going up because the individual or the business had a loss. It goes up because they haven't had losses and they've had a discount on their policy, like a 15% discount for not having had a loss. And then once you have a loss, obviously that discount goes away. So that's where we see the premium go up. Worst case scenario, your premium goes up an amount that you're not comfortable with. And that's where your agent comes in to play. You know, is there another company that can insure you for, you know, a more comfortable rate?
But I think the primary takeaway that I'm hearing is once you have an event that leads to a claim, it's the event in and of itself that's going to maybe create an adjustment to your premium. But the magnitude, that's not going to be the relevant factor. It's going to be, okay, you either had an event or didn't have an event.
Right. Correct.
Okay. Are there any changes happening in the industry that people should be aware of?
That's a great question. So over the years, insurance companies have just become so much tougher. They send out an expert for everything. So if we're writing the roof, they're sending out a roofing expert. There's a major fire loss and there's artwork or electronics. They have companies that will come in and evaluate all of these things. I mean, even if it's like a major water loss and there's lots of electronics in the home, it's obvious that, you know, if your TV is soaking wet, that should be replaced. But there are tactics for all of these things. And again, it's understanding how to deal with and navigate and turn the benefit of that type of a scenario to benefit the insured, not the insurance company. And there's ways to do that. And, you know, being in this industry and knowing who all the players are, there are ways for that to be advantageous to the insured, while also allowing the insurance company to send out their experts and you know, take a deeper dive into things. But, you know, we're challenged on everything. So that's where we have to be really, really good at our estimating and account for all of the damages and not leave anything on the table.
Well, Melissa, Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today and sharing your thoughts and perspectives on this topic. As I look out my window, it's still flurrying out there right now. And while we haven't been hit very heavily up here in New England yet, we all can remember back to 2015 when we had 110 inches of snow. It seems like an opportune time to speak to someone like yourself and keep your contact information handy. So again, thank you for the time. And is there anything the New England CCIM chapter can do to support professionals and firms like yours?
I think awareness is really key. Just, understanding that that our service is the right of the insured. You have the right to your own adjuster. Clearly, it's a service that you pay for, but it should be a service that pays for itself if you hire the right public adjuster.
Again, thank you for your time, and thank you for taking the time to view this video. You can follow Melissa on LinkedIn and through the Panakio website. Links will be included in the description below. We have more great speakers and content coming later this year, so please like and subscribe below. Keep an eye on this channel, and also feel free to follow us on LinkedIn and other social media platforms. Thank you for viewing.